Ordinary martial artists need celestial roots to break through. Ordinary martial artists need celestial roots to break through. Long Fei was the same. Moreover, not only did he need level 1 immortal root S, he also needed second level fairy route S. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to break through. Not only that, the ghosts in the Yellow Springs summoning seal were like a group of eager children. They also needed the power of Immortal Foundation. Hence the mission on Long Fei was very difficult. Black Shark faction? Morong Mansion? Long Fei thought about it carefully. I'll still go to the underground river to see if I can get anything. Fatty! Long Fei shouted to Chen Tianfei, who was lying in the demon beast circle. Stop playing dead. Hurry up and get up. Boss, can't you just let me have a good night's sleep? I almost fell asleep. Chen Tianfei crawled up from the ground and yawned. He was somewhat unwilling. In these 8 days, he was basically being abused by the demon beast. However, just as Long Fei had said, he was not dead. Even he himself could not believe that he had miraculously survived, and he even faintly felt that he had broken through the holy 9th rank. The immortal foundation within his body was very dense. The more he was struck, beaten, and bitten by the demon beast, the stronger the power in his body became as it slowly gathered bit by bit. Am I born to be oppressed? Fatty Chen wanted to cry, but no tears came out. However, he also accepted it. He could only make himself stronger. He was willing to make a breakthrough no matter how much more bitter it was. He had to make the Morong prince's residents pay the price, and he had to avenge his grandfather. Fatty Chen walked out and asked, Boss, where are we going now? Long Fei said, to the underground river. Huh. Is that the underground stink ditch you took me to last time? Fatty Chen said. Long Fei said, right below the smelly ditch is the underground river, and you will soon be the holy 9th rank, right? It is time for you to fuse with the second level fairy route. Second level fairy route. Fatty Chen exhaled and said, the second level fairy route is too difficult. Immortal roots were too scarce. Second level fairy route was even rarer. With his current comprehension ability, it was simply impossible for him to comprehend the second level fairy route. Sure. I'll go with you. Fatty Chen shouted out and followed behind Long Fei. Early morning. When Fu Shishan walked to the backyard, he was already awake. During this time, she had been training her alchemy technique. There were many different types of examinations in the God Emperor Academy. Other than the examinations for the use of force, there were also assessments for alchemy, formation, artifact forging, and a series of other special examinations. If one's alchemy was refined well, one could also enter the God Emperor Academy. Xiao Ying was also training, but she trained in strange powers. Good morning, Sister Yinshan. Man Tualuo greeted. Fu Shishan was overjoyed. The pills you refined yesterday have all been sold out. They are truly popular. Today, I want to tell you something. In 10 days, God Emperor City will organize an annual large-scale auction jointly with God Emperor City to see if you can refine any pills for our Feng Yuan Merchant Union to hold. Right. Where's Long Fei? Fu Shishan looked at the courtyard. Man Tualuo said, he's still not back yet. Huh. Fu Shishan was startled and immediately asked, Uncle Lei? The smoke thunder descended in a flash and asked, Miss, do you have any instructions? Fu Shishan asked, why is Long Fei not back yet? Did something happen at the slaughterhouse? The smoke thunder said, probably not. No one knows about the matter regarding them at the slaughterhouse yet. The Morong Prince's manor and the Black Shark faction should not be able to find that place. Then Fu Shishan's eyes shook as he said, Underground River. The smoke thunder was also shocked. This brat, Are you crazy? Immediately, he disappeared in the blink of an eye. Fu Shishan shouted anxiously, Uncle Lei, you be careful yourself. Underground river. Slaughterhouse. So you actually hid in that place after not showing your face for such a long time. Just wait for me and see how I take care of you guys. A disciple of the Black Shark faction quickly retreated. At the same time, Murong Tian from the Murong King's manor also received the news. Murong Tian's eyes turned sinister. You've finally revealed yourselves. Let's see how long you can hide for. Junior apprentice brother. Leave this kind of lame duck from the southern domain to us. Don't worry. He must not see the sun tomorrow. A 20-year-old man wearing God Emperor Academy clothes said. Murong Tian immediately said, then I'll have to thank the senior fellow apprentices. Once this matter is successful, the fairy stones will definitely have to thank you. Money can make a difference. Fairy stones are 10,000 times more precious than money. They can make the grindstone fly. Murong Tian's mouth turned cold and laughed. Long Fei, you want to play with me in God Emperor's City? Do you think I can't touch you just because you have the Feng Yuan Merchant Alliance backing you? Humph, just you wait and see how I'll play you to death. At this moment, Murong Fenglei walked out from the back of the hall and said, get the students of the God Emperor Academy to deal with him. Good move. Murong Tian laughed. It's a pity that we can't kill that trash with our own hands. We let him take advantage of us. Murong Fenglei said, the process is not important so long as the result is good. Right. The Family Gene Union has already sent back a message. They have agreed to cooperate with us. As long as we can provide them with any accurate information, they will make their move. Murong Fenglei said. Other than that, the news just arrived from the Gene clan. The God Emperor City's auction will start in 10 days. What do you want? Father will buy it for you. The Murong King's Manor was the God Emperor Academy's intelligence agency. Collecting information was what they were most adept at. Murong Tian smiled slightly and said, it's not 10 commercial alliances, but 9 business union. Didn't the Feng Yuan Merchant Alliance want to support Long Fei? Then let him die for sure. Ha ha! This auction was before the God Emperor Academy assessment. The various major trading unions were all closely organizing the event. Although it was a joint conference, the truth was that they were all secretly competing with each other. Whoever had something good would have a firmer footing in the God Emperor Academy. This was a good opportunity to show their face, and no merchant union would miss it. This year was even more different. This year's auction was an unprecedented strong one, with all sorts of powerful items. All the big merchant unions will take out their most valuable treasures and even immortal stage divine equipment. Moreover, in the past, it was only the competition between the various nobles of God Emperor City, but this year was different. God Emperor Academy enlarged her recruitment. There were experts entering the immortal domain, the dark domain, and the wilderness region, so the number of contenders would increase. Another formless battle. As long as the items were good, their power and influence would increase. This was an auction that took place in the entire Tianwu continent, an unprecedented auction. To the contenders, this was a battle to the death. It was a close combat between the merchant union. Murong Tian said, I don't know yet, but there should be something that I need. Murong Fenglei laughed. Don't worry, I prepared 400 fairy stones this time. This was the full fortune of the Murong prince's estate. For Murong Tian, Murong Fenglei did not hesitate to pay any price. If he could push Murong Tian to the position of a demon slayer, let alone 400 fairy stones, even if the Murong prince residence had to go bankrupt, it would not be at all. In another place, underground river. Boss, what's all this? Chun Tianfei's scalp went numb. In front of him stood a monster that had just crawled out of the water. The reason they were called monsters was because these demon beasts were all like the mutated lizards from his previous life. His eyes were fixated on the fat on Fatty Chen's body. Long Fei looked at the underground river, which was surging with waves. There were quite a lot of these monsters in the water. No matter what. One word. Sister-in-law 1-/ plus health, strongest upgrade system, kill. Long Fei slightly shouted and pushed the fatty out of the room. Fatty, it's time to check on the results of your training. Ah. Fatty Chen roared and rushed forward with his life on the line. The first chapter. Thank you, Brother Lei, for your support of the monthly tickets. Thank you. 8_8419/2356950. Crack. Crack. A bite. Half of its body was in the monster's mouth. Ah. Boss, I'm going to die. Fatty Chin shouted. However, there was not a single drop of blood on his body. Instead, a halo of light appeared on his body, making him look like an astral energy armor. Crack! The demon beast's sharp teeth were broken. Fatty Chun did not notice it. He was shouting and shouting, nearly scared to the point that he peed his pants. Long Fei was incredibly shocked in his heart. This guy's defense. It's simply invincible. At the same time, Long Fei shouted in his heart, Level 4 unparalleled. Open! Power surged. Long Fei's fists moved, rushing forward. Immortal divine fist. Boom! Boom! The power of Celestial surged, and it used all of its strength every single time. Every time it struck the demon beast's body, its body would turn into a block of wood, like the power of freezing ice. It's just that Long Fei was using Mu Feng's power. Greater than sign, damage continued to float above the demon beast's head. Demon beast, devouring sword beast health, level 3 description. This demon beast was birthed from the god Emperor Mountain. It contains a sword within its body and is called the sword beast swallowing. Huh. There's a sword in his body. I just happen to be lacking a weapon. Long Fei muttered and said secretly, Ancestor, could it be that the dragon Salyer you refined with me ate him and did not dare to see me? Such a long time. Long Fei was extremely drunk since the fusion had not yet completed. Life without the dragon Salyer is so uncomfortable. Boss, what are you mumbling about? Hurry up, I'm about to be eaten by this guy. Fatty Chin shouted. Long Fei increased his pace and quickly attacked. Bam! 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 Because the attacks of the sword beast swallowing were all on his mouth, Long Fei did not need to worry. He just kept attacking it in front of the live target. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Devouring Sword Beast for obtaining 200 EXP, 50 power of celestial points, and 1 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Profound Nether Sword. Weapon, Profound Nether Sword grade. Immortal grade 4 description. This sword is a remnant sword that cannot be used. It needs to be reforged. Broken sword? Long Fei muttered. One of the sword beasts suddenly rushed out of the water and pounced towards Xiang Long Fei. Chun Tianfei crawled out from the mouth of the sword beastess. When he saw the sword beastess pouncing towards him in the water, he moved his body, causing a halo to burst forth from his body. Buzz. It stood in front of Long Fei, blocking his way. Bam! The swallowing sword beast bit Chen Tianfei hard, causing Chen Tianfei to shriek like a ghost, slapping me in the face instead of beating me up. You always F***king, bite my face. What if you bite my face until it breaks? How preposterous. Fatty was infuriated. The godly aura within its body trembled, and the energy that burst out caused the sword beast's teeth to shatter. Long Fei quickly attacked, and after a series of fierce beatings. Half a minute later, Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Devouring Sword Beast for obtaining 200 experience, 50 power of celestial, and 1 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Falling Moon Broken Sword. Ha! Another broken sword. What's the situation? Long Fei looked at the current in the sky. This underground river had flowed down from inside the God Emperor Peak. Could it be that these sword beast devourers had devoured the remnants of swords made by masters in God Emperor Academy to become like this? Not giving Long Fei time to think, the other sword beast flew out. Kill! Let's kill them first. Ding! Ding! The system kept beeping. As his experience points increased, the value of his power of celestial increased. However, Long Fei was not afraid, as all he needed was a tiny spirit burst pill to be able to fully recover his power of celestial. After a full day of killing, Long Fei and Fatty Chun were already exhausted. Long Fei's space ring exploded with a large amount of broken swords. Fatty Chun said, "Boss, it's about time. If we don't rest now, I really won't be able to hold on." Long Fei said, "Go back." He was also afraid of Man Tuo Yuo, Fu Shishan, and the others. But right at this moment, all of a sudden, huge waves rolled across the dark river, and the river waters started to flow crazily. A golden light flashed. "Boss!" Long Fei's gaze tensed up, the sword beast swallowing king. What shocked Long Fei the most was that the boss carried a huge sword on its back, just like the Dragon Life 9 Sons did. The sword glowed. This was no ordinary product. Also, the body of the sword beast king emitted a dense aura of the power of celestial, similar to the aura emitted by the fairy beast outside the god's soul town. Without waiting for Long Fei to be shocked, Fatty Chin immediately crawled up and said, "Fairy beast." Long Fei immediately said, "Explode him." Before he could finish his sentence, Fatty Chun had already run far away. "Boss, I'll go buy you dinner." He instantly slipped away. The fairy beast, an existence with abnormal battle strength. Long Fei shouted, "Fatty, you're too shameless. You're a monster, right? I'm also a monster." Suddenly, Long Fei moved and roared out in his heart, "Imperial Claw out." Rumble. Long Fei immediately transformed into an incomparably huge imperial claw, slamming heavily into the river. This was the Mountain Sea Scriptures beast transformation system. The imperial claw was a demon beast he killed. She transformed into the AO, Huang Emperor, and drilled into the water, facing the sword beast that was also staring at her. Long Fei was extremely shocked. The sword beast devouring king was exactly similar to the dragon king's 9 seeds, except its appearance was even more ferocious. Its 2 green eyes stared at Long Fei. Roar! A furious roar came out from the water waves as they charged towards Xiang Long Fei crazily. This is the immortal domain. The Ao Huang was only a demon beast in the demon sea of the South Horizon region, and its rank was not on the same level. However, how could he not explode when he saw the boss? The sword beast swallowing king flung his giant tail, and the water ripples became like a sword as it shot towards Xiang Long Fei. When the goblin emperor entered the water, he was not a match for the swallowing sword beast king. It was just that Long Fei was able to use it to check the attributes of the king. Recover. Shua. As his body returned to his original body, Long Fei's gaze tensed up. In the water, he watched as the swallowing sword beast's feet pushed against the water and rushed forward. Thunder Dragon Rod. Come out. Fei. Lend me some power of thunder and lightning. Long Fei's idea penetrated deep into the Thunder Dragon Rod's pearl. Fei wanted to rush out, but was choked by the water and said, "Master, you're so bad. I hate water. I can't release the power of thunder and lightning in the water." Huh. Long Fei's heart tightened. At this moment, the huge sword carried by the swallowing sword beast king shot out a shadow, flying straight up to the sky, and ruthlessly slashed down towards Long Fei, revealing a look of disdain. Die! This strike was very powerful. Sister-in-law, 1-/ plus health, strongest upgrade system. It was like a stone tablet rising to the heavens, suppressing down. F***CK. Harm my boss. You bastard, did you get Lousy's permission? Fatty Chun returned after leaving, as he saw a sword shadow descending. The immortal foundation in his heart exploded as he charged forward. Chapter 28_8419/2356951. The fatty pounced. The fatty pounced. Long Fei rushed forward. He did not defend. Even he had long guessed that the fatty would come back. He understood Chun Tianfei's personality very well. Boom! The gigantic sword phantom descended and heavily stabbed Chun Tianfei in the back. His body abruptly sank and was instantly suppressed into the water, firmly nailing him to the riverbed. Puffed, Chun Tianfei spat out a mouthful of blood and muttered, "Fuck you, you're so strong? However, I'm stronger than you." Chun Tianfei roared in his heart, and a power of celestial burst out from his body. The power of celestial was like a set of armor that wrapped around his body, causing Chun Tianfei to become furious. Buzz! The divine armor on his body trembled, forming a powerful backlash. Crack! Kacha! Kacha! The enormous phantom shadow sword began to crack, and like the sound of ice cracking, it quickly split open and spread out. Tank! Large class tank! If he were to use the game's words, Chun Sheng's entire body would be covered in meat, and he wouldn't be able to get through. With him in the front row, he was invincible. At the same time, Long Fei's pace increased bit by bit as he roared in his heart, "Ancestor, are you done yet?" The pubes' body slightly moved. Yan Huang Ancestor's aura surged out as she said excitedly, "Completed! All right, give me your saber." Long Fei roared, his right hand grabbing the air. Boom! The dragon's salure flew out from the space ring. Its appearance had changed. Previously, it was only a dragon on the back of a blade. Item: Dragon Salure Grade. Jizun, 3rd level. Weight: 13,000 gene damage. Description: Dragon Salure has reached the 3rd level of cultivation. The body of the blade has changed to become a dragon blade. Description 2. Hidden skill Dark Dragon God's Fury has an in-skill effect. If touched, the player will be hit more than 30 levels. Description 3. Increases critical hit by 100%. At this moment, the dragon salure was done fusing. Long Fei's entire being was boiling. Looking at its attribute, Long Fei was even more excited. In his hand was not a blade, but a dragon. Light weapons. His right hand grabbed out heavily, and with a step, he landed in front of the Sword Beast King. The corner of his mouth drew back, and he let out a cold laugh. "Let me experience your strength." Yan Huang Ancestor became excited. He also wanted to see it for himself. The supreme artifact of the South Horizon region. Supreme artifact that had been passed down in the Long family for countless years. Now that he had reached the 3rd level of Jizun, the dragon salure had completely evolved under the fusion of Heart of Ancient Fairy Tree. He was enraged. Long Fei's eyes darkened, and his blade slashed down. Boom! The water in the dark river was immediately split open. The blade cut down the head of the sword beast, 100% chance of exploding out. A red number floated up above his head. 1 slash. Critical hit 380,000 damage. It was only a gentle stab. Long Fei's blood was boiling. The amount of blood on the head of the sword beast devouring king increased by a lot, and he shouted, Explode for me. The gigantic sword phantom on the back of the sword beast devouring king rushed out again and struck down vertically. It was angry. Long Fei did not care about the defense at all. Underneath the riverbed, Qin Tianfei charged forward. You still want to hurt my boss. You're not qualified. Whoosh! The gigantic ball of meat rushed forward, blocking Long Fei's attack. Long Fei's power of celestial surged. This time he raised his blade with both hands and slashed down. Rumble! Rumble! The waves churned, and waves crashed against the shore. The entire underground river trembled, and the sword beast king trembled crazily. That slash just now was like a black dragon rushing into his mind and strangling it. 100,000 points injuries. The sword beast let out a scream, and their bodies suddenly split apart. Explode! Long Fei shouted in his heart. Release the berserk energy attribute. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing rank 2 fairy beast devouring sword beast king, for obtaining an experience point, power of celestial, 3,000 points, energy values, 1 point. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 2nd level fairy route, sword spirit immortal root. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 2nd level fairy route, beast armored immortal root. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Beast King Sword's crippling. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Fairy Beast S and Blood Vein S. Do you wish to fuse them? The system beat began to rage. Long Fei was so excited that he was about to dance with joy. To be able to produce 2 immortal roots at once, that's what a violent energy feels like. Ding! The sword beast S were all absorbed by the dragon salure. The blood vein was once again absorbed. The dragon salure had started to absorb the blood vein again, but Long Fei didn't care about it. Long Fei immediately warned, Ancestor, you must leave these 2 immortal roots to me. Long Fei wouldn't be able to break through without immortal foundation. This hurt a lot. Right now, he had not even fused with the level 1 immortal root, so even if he had the experience, he would not be able to step into the spiritual level. Yan Huang Ancestor laughed. Brat, do you still want me to train you those ghost soldiers? So many ghost soldiers who wish to train will have to rely on the power of their immortal foundation. Long Fei contemptuously said, You are blackmailing me, right? *CK. Can I admit defeat? However, don't move for these 2 immortal roots. I'll give you more next time. On the way to the immortal domain, he found out some things about the immortal foundation from EE. The immortal foundation was divided into many, the fairy beast S, immortal grasses, and immortal roots that were produced by the heaven and earth, as well as the immortal roots comprehended by the warriors themselves, were all part of some special immortal roots, such as the one that Long Fei just revealed. A sword was a weapon, and an attack was a special type of immortal foundation. Armor was armor, and defense was armor. This type of immortal foundation was a special type of immortal foundation. Moreover, once the attacking type of immortal foundation was fused, one would have to fuse with the attacking type of immortal foundation, starting from the first stage. Only then would one be able to unleash the most peak realm. Once there was no path of regret. Fatty, stop playing dead. The blend of fairy vein is ashore. Long Fei looked at Qin Tianfei, who was floating on the river surface. If he had not blocked the 2 attacks from earlier, Long Fei would have already been half dead. He had to say it. The fat guy was very eye-catching. The meat king. What? Fatty Chin wanted to pretend to be dead, but when he heard the words blend of fairy vein, he immediately perked up and said, Boss, what did you say? Blend of fairy vein? What immortal roots? With just a glance, he looked like a prostitute that had just entered a brothel. Long Fei swam to the shore with Fatty following closely behind. Long Fei said, "The immortal foundation that you fused with for the first time should be some sort of armor-type immortal foundation. So I'm afraid that for the rest of your life, you will only be able to walk this path of defense." Fatty Chen said, "I understand. I understood from the beginning that I am not destined to be that kind of handsome man." Long Fei looked at him contemptuously and said, "Have you thought about it yet?" Fatty Chen said, "Boss, did you obtain the defensive type of immortal foundation?" Long Fei nodded his head and said, "Starting from the second-level fairy route, you might have a chance to change it." Not waiting for him to finish, Fatty Chen directly replied, "No, this is the path that I will take. This is the path that Grandpa has chosen for me. I want to pass on his will to continue on." Very firm. Floating life. Table of contents. No windows. A++. He had never been so determined before. Long Fei smiled and took out the beast-armored immortal root from the space ring. Pa, pa, pa. A clapping sound came from the darkness. Chapter 38_8419/2356952. Unexpectedly. 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 I never thought that there would be a fairy beast hidden in this dark river. It's still a second-rank fairy beast. The voice came from afar, and a group of people slowly walked out of the darkness. He was wearing a black tight suit. He was dressed the same as the people in the inn at Tongxian City. Long Fei stood up. The corner of his mouth lifted into a sneer. "Black Shark Faction. Not bad. To actually know our identities, that's simple. Hand over the second-level fairy route and kneel on the ground. I will let you guys have a quick death." The tiger shark walked closer, revealing a sinister face. Fatty Chen was very cautious. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "I'm not going to look for you guys. Instead, you guys have come to look for me first." The tiger shark looked at Long Fei, and its aura was already different from when it was in the god's Phoenix Pavilion. It trembled in its heart. He actually broke through from the 7th level of the nascent immortal realm to the holy 9th rank in a short 10 days. He's truly a demon. However, no matter how monstrous of a genius he was still just a holy 9th rank. Moreover, the tiger shark clearly knew that the strange sword in God's Phoenix Pavilion's hands disappeared. It should be a type of one-time use treasure. After using it, it would be gone. Otherwise, he didn't dare to be so rash. The tiger shark laughed. "Holy 9th rank, seems like you have improved a little, but still." "Then you still have to kneel down." The voice suddenly roared. "Chun," Tianfei shouted in anger, "kneel before your ancestors." Boom! When the power of Celestial in his body exploded, a ray of light enveloped his body, causing Fatty Chen to rush up, shouting at Long Fei, "Boss, you go first. I will hold them off." "Leave. None of you can leave." The tiger shark did not even put Chen Tianfei in its eyes. As for defense, what defenses does the holy 9th rank have? The two henchmen next to him charged forward to block it. The corner of the tiger shark's mouth lifted as it stared at Long Fei and said, "Lame duck of the southern domain, behave yourself. I thought you were some lousy disciple, but it turns out you're just trash from the South Horizon region. Then, I don't have any scruples at all." A charge! The tiger shark revealed a sinister killing intent. The chi on his body suddenly changed, forming a powerful shockwave that crazily suppressed Xiang Longfei. It was incomparably powerful. Cluck, 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 cluck. Hearing the words trash of the southern domain, once again, Long Fei was extremely unhappy. This kind of regional scolding made him angry to the extreme. Trash, right? Then let's see who the F*King Trash is today. Long Fei roared in his heart, 9 great immortal spirit. *CK. A month's time should have passed. The last time Long Fei had forcefully released the power of the bronze doll in his mind, it had also caused him to be unable to use it again. It had already been almost 2 months. The strength of the 9th-grade immortal spirit was summoned by Long Fei. In his mind, the first bronze man moved, and a powerful energy surged out, fusing into Long Fei's limbs and bones. In that instant, the aura on Long Fei's body instantly changed. Trash, right? Let's see who's more useless. When the 9th-grade immortal spirit's power exploded, Long Fei instantly charged forward without any defense. The corners of the tiger shark's mouth drew back. You want to compare strength with me? You're courting death. His fists were like giant hammers that heavily smashed forward, directly striking Long Fei's chest. Long Fei didn't have any defense, as he roared in his heart, "Believe me when I see your power. I want to use my own moves." The 9th-grade immortal spirit had an additional skill. However, Long Fei really did not like this type of cultivation technique because not violent enough. The moment the tiger shark's fist struck his chest, Long Fei's eyes became angry, and he grabbed onto the tiger shark's neck, constricting it, then pulled it down under his armpit. He stared at the tiger shark and roared like a king of hell, "Trash!" Bam! A fist ruthlessly smashed onto the tiger shark's face. Trash, right? Bam! The right fist struck out ferociously, once again striking the tiger shark's face. After 2 punches, the bones on the tiger shark's face shattered. The power of the tiger shark, as continued to struggle, was completely crushed by the 9th-grade immortal spirit on Long Fei's body. Completely immobilized. Trash, right? You're trash from the South Horizon region, right? The people from your immortal domain are amazing, right? Huh. Bang. Bang, bang. Punch after punch. Each punch landed on flesh. Every move was full of blood. He didn't care about anything. He just wanted to kill him. The tiger shark was struggling, and his hands were also attacking nonstop. But Long Fei was completely crazy and didn't let go at all. What are you all waiting for? Get him away from me. Get this madman for me. Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Long Fei struck again with a heavy blow, directly slapping all of the tiger shark's front teeth out of her body. Bam! A few disciples of Black Shark faction rushed forward. Long Fei's gaze darkened. He glared and angrily shouted, "Let's try and see who dares to come up." His eyes were filled with a brutal and domineering aura. This was not a battle. It was not a competition of cultivation techniques or martial skills, but a competition of who was crazy. Long Fei grabbed the head of the tiger shark and ruthlessly smashed it onto the wall. Bang, bang, bang. The tiger shark was crushed to the point that it couldn't move at all by the 9th-grade immortal spirit's strength. It was smashed into a bloody mess by Long Fei, and even his mother couldn't recognize him. Long Fei pressed his hand on the tiger shark's head and said, "Who the hell is the trash now?" He was truly infuriated. What's wrong with the South Horizon region? Did the South Horizon region fuck your ancestors? You look down on the South Horizon region? Long Fei was unhappy. The tiger shark's eyes were bloodshot as she stared at Long Fei gloomily and said, "Brat, do you know what happens if you offend me? Do you think the Black Shark faction is so easy to mess with? Trash, it's best if you let me go. Otherwise, Black Shark faction will kill you without a burial ground. Don't think that the Fengyuan Merchant Union will be able to protect you. Even the Fengyuan Merchant Union has to die." Very arrogant, because Black Shark faction was the #1 sect in God Emperor City. They feared God Emperor Academy and other forces. Not at all. The same was true for the Fengyuan Merchant Union. When the Black Shark faction became truly angry, it was a suppression and destruction that covered the sky. This sort of thing had happened before. Long Fei laughed sinisterly and said, "Black Shark faction, right? Kill you. I'll go destroy your bullshit Black Shark faction." Finished. Long Fei grabbed the tiger shark's head and raised it up high into the air, slowly using power through his 5 fingers. The strength of 9-grade immortal spirit S crushed it. The heads of the tiger shark S were about to shatter. Incomparable pain. And at this moment, the tiger shark let out a blood-curdling screech, as it also became incomparably terrified. Don't kill me. I am trash. I am trash. Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei's 5 fingers moved, and he shouted coldly, "Die! 360 search." Half floating / equals, bam. The head split open. The system sounded out. Ding. Chapter 48_8419/2356953. He only knew how to be afraid when faced with death, but it was too late. He only knew how to be afraid when faced with death, but it was too late. The tiger shark's head exploded. Its eyes turned white. Its body twitched a few times, then died. The system beeped. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Hall Master Black Shark Faction's Tiger Shark for obtaining 350 experience, 300 power of celestial points, and 100 energy values points. Congratulations to the player Long Fei for obtaining the Level 1 Immortal Root Iron Fist Immortal Foundation. Do you wish to fuse it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Fairy Stones, number 1. A few notifications ended. Those Black Shark faction S watched on helplessly as the tiger shark was killed. Each and every one of their legs were weak as they knelt on the ground and said, "We are trash, we are trash, we are trash. Please spare us, please spare us. Spare our lives." He. Too late. He had to kill it. If he did not kill it, he would not be able to quell the anger in Long Fei's heart. Don't kill. I'm afraid he won't be able to leave today. The use of 9-grade immortal spirit consumed a lot of mental energy, so there was only a little bit of time left. If he did not take care of these minions once they noticed his weakness, they would pounce on him like mad dogs. Thus, Long Fei did not show any mercy, punching them all in the face, killing them all in a second. After killing the last one, Long Fei's body went limp and fell straight to the ground. Ding. System notification. Player has entered an extreme state of exhaustion. Defensive power decreased. Attack power decreased. Rob. Long Fei cursed in his heart. Even your attack and defense have been weakened during your extreme exhaustion. This 9-grade immortal spirit really needs to be used a little less in the future. This is 2F * King unbearable. If the 9-grade immortal spirit S, the bronze person, hadn't used up all their mental power like this, but Long Fei did according to his own wish, it would be different. His body was currently unable to withstand a consumption that was multiplied by several times. Fatty Chun, who was watching on the side, was dumbfounded. Boss, that is the Black Shark faction's Tiger Shark. Were they killed by you just like that? F asterisk CK me. F asterisk CK 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 F asterisk CK. Are you even considered human? He's so handsome that he's almost as handsome as me. Long Fei rolled her eyes at him and said, Fatty, this is your immortal foundation. There's still half a month left. If you want to enter God Emperor Academy in this half month, you must break through the spiritual level. The assessment this time was different from the previous ones. The God Emperor Academy's assessment this time was aimed at the entire Sky Martial continent. It could be said that all the geniuses of the continent had come if he wanted to pass this test on his own. The only way was become stronger. Chun Tianfei received the beast-armored immortal root and said excitedly, Boss, just you wait and see. I will definitely not let you down. At the same time, Chun Tianfei secretly thought in his heart, Grandfather, I will definitely not let you down. I will definitely make the Murong family pay the price. I will definitely make everyone in the Chun family look at me in a new light. I will definitely work hard. And then Chun Tianfei sat on the floor and directly refined the beast-armored immortal root. Long Fei leaned on the side and started to breathe heavily, looking at Fatty Chun. Long Fei secretly thought in his heart, the power in his body has yet to awaken. In the end, how will he awaken it? The defense on Fatty's body had indeed become stronger. However, it had not reached the level of invincible defense that Yan Huang ancestor had mentioned. What was missing? The key thing was that the Holy Armor King Kong mission had not been completed yet. It had been almost a month, and it was still not completed. Just that little bit. Long Fei could not think of anything, but he believed that this would happen sooner or later. He was looking forward to Fatty Chen's explosive display. Compared to Li Yuanba and the others, Chun Tianfei's King Kong Road was a little different. Long Fei needed to have more patience to activate the power in his body. Long Fei was not in a hurry. Sooner or later, all 8 great King Kong would be gathered. Ha ha! Within the darkness, a satisfied sneer could be heard. Long Fei frowned. Is there anyone else? Of course. I didn't expect a trash from the southern domain like you would actually be able to kill the Black Shark faction's Tiger Shark. It's truly surprising. A man in his 20s walked out. There were 3 people behind him. He was dressed in the God Emperor Academy student uniform with the God Emperor Academy embroidered on his chest. It was very eye-catching. Long Fei's originally extinguished anger exploded forth with a bang. With a gloomy gaze, he stared at the man and said coldly, You actually saw it. Then that should be why he died. The people from God Emperor Academy are here. No doubt about it. This is Murong Tian's man. Long Fei thought, seems like I underestimated this Murong Tian to think that he could actually order the people from God Emperor Academy to take action. The man disdainfully smiled and said, Is it because I said you're trash from the South Horizon region? What he said isn't wrong. The South Horizon region was originally a wasteland for trash to begin with. After the calamity that struck Long family, not a single expert from the South Horizon region appeared in the God Emperor Academy. Could it be that the South Horizon region isn't a wasteland for trash? Aren't you trash? The man was very proud. In his eyes, Long Fei was now an ant that he was about to trample to death. He didn't care at all. There was no need to rush to kill such a person. Longface squinted, stared at the man, and said, "You will die? Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha." The four of them laughed at the same time. The man said, "Is it because I'm trash like the tiger shark? Why aren't you looking at yourself? Are you trying to kill me? Are you worthy?" Longface slowly stood up and said, "You're not worthy, are you? Ha!" With a cold laugh, Longface suddenly grabbed with his right hand, and his body rushed out urgently. He stared at the man, and suddenly shouted, "I'll let you know whether you are worthy or not." Anger welled up once again. The dragon salyer slashed across and roared out in his heart, "Dragon God, give me some strength to cripple him." Boom! The dragon salyer moved, and the valiant figure of the dark dragon god roared, releasing a dragon's roar. Rumble, rumble. The entire underground space was trembling as rubble rolled down. He did not kill the man with that name. Instead, he locked onto a man beside him. The sword chi formed by the dragon's spirit shadow directly devoured him. And right in front of the man, this feeling was incomparable. Crack! Ding! Instant kill, Dark Dragon God's Fury. Ding! Congratulations to player Longfei for killing God Emperor Academy Disciple for obtaining 340 experience points, 29 power of celestial points, and 10 energy values points. As the blade fell, the dragon god appeared and engulfed him. The figure disappeared. It disappeared on the spot as if it had never appeared before. Not even a drop of blood flowed out. At this moment, the space inside the dragon salyer, Dark Dragon God stared intently at the student. The student's legs went weak, and he immediately peed his pants in fright. The Dark Dragon God was incomparably large as he coldly said, "Brat, you're very arrogant." The student shook his head. No, not waiting for him to finish. Dark Dragon God swallowed him whole and started chewing on him. He said unclearly, "Arrogant in front of my big brother. Are you tired of living?" Dark Dragon God, compared to the Dark Dragon God, before he leveled up, it was different. Baidu's sister-in-law, a half. Floating life's strongest upgrade system, he had awakened a few things in his sea of consciousness. It was the same information as the Azure Dragon ancestor. Longfei, his boss. Chapter 5. 8_8419/2356954. The flag that rose up from the Long family landed on his body. He wanted to carry this flag so that no one in the sky Martial continent would dare to look down on the South Horizon region. It had never been this strong. Yen Huang ancestor understood this in his heart, but he wanted to say something but hesitated. Longfei said, "Ancestor, if you have anything to say, say it." Yen Huang ancestor was silent for a few seconds, then said, "Brat, I know what you're thinking, but you want everyone to look at the people of the South Horizon region in a new light, make the South Horizon region receive more attention, and have a place in the sky Martial continent, but it is not possible to kill with just your own hands. Killing was just a method. Killing would only cause fear, not respect." Longfei said, "I know as well, but now I have no other way. Killing is the only way I have now, and it's also the fastest way." Yen Huang ancestor became silent again. Just as Longfei had said, massacres could not garner any respect from others, but it could induce fear in others. It was the fastest way for them to rise to prominence. Yen Huang ancestor did not say that killing was bad. Slaughter would only put Longfei in an even more dangerous position. Longfei fought with his life on the line every time. There would be a day when he would go through with it. This was what the forefather was worried about. Half an hour passed. In the dark underground darkness, there was another series of hurried footsteps. Long Fei opened his eyes slightly, his fists clenched tightly, and said, "There's nothing left to play, right? Sure. I'll turn the world upside down today." It was also at this time. Fu Shishan shouted anxiously, "Long Fei, where are you?" The smoke thunder's gaze tightened, looked towards Long Fei's direction, and said, "Over there." Fu Shishan ignored everything and directly rushed into the darkness. Looking at Long Fei, whose face was pale and blood was hanging from the corners of his mouth, she could no longer control her tears and directly threw herself into Long Fei's embrace, hugging him tightly. Man Tualuo and Xiaoying had also arrived. Seeing Fu Shishan holding onto Long Fei, Man Tualuo's heart faintly ached. She was jealous of Fu Shishan, and they could not approach Long Fei, not to mention jumping into Long Fei's embrace. This was a knot in her heart. This was also the reason why Long Fei was unable to reach 90 points in affability level. She was afraid that she would harm Long Fei. Long Fei lightly patted Fu Shishan's back and said, "Sis, I'm fine, I'm fine." The smoke thunder looked around at the dead disciples of the Black Shark faction, his eyes sinister as he said, "I am not going to look for them. They have gone to look for us first." Black Shark faction. Looking at Long Fei's pale face, the smoke thunder's heart sunk as well. It was very angry. Fu Shishan's face flushed red as she withdrew herself from Long Fei's embrace. Looking at him, she said, "I told you a long time ago that you had to have Uncle Lei follow you even if you wanted to come to the underground river. You just won't listen." It felt good to have someone to worry about. This was something that he couldn't understand in his previous life. Long Fei looked at Fu Shishan and said, "I'm fine. These Black Shark faction's minions won't be able to do anything to me. Hee hee." He did not want Fu Shishan and the others to worry too much. Thus, he also did not speak of the matter of the appearance of the God Emperor Academy's students. God Emperor Academy, the strongest power in the immortal domain. Once he made a move on the Fengyuan Merchant Union, it would be hard for them to have a foothold in the immortal domain. This was Long Fei's problem. He did not want to involve Fu Shishan and the others in it. However, he did not know. He had already involved the Fengyuan Merchant Union. Another hour passed. The qi on Chen Tianfei's body was slowly absorbed by his body, releasing a few loud and resounding bell chimes. Fatty Chen opened his eyes. He became excited. "Ha! It's been fused. I fused. Boss, I fused a second immortal foundation. Where are the bastards of God Emperor Academy? I'm going to kill them." Even though Chen Tianfei was at the blend of fairy vein, he could clearly see what was happening around him. Fu Shishan immediately asked, "God Emperor Academy's disciple? What disciple?" 360 search. Half floating / equals. Long Fei immediately glared at Chen Tianfei. Chen Tianfei was surprised for a moment and said, "I'm talking about those bastards of Black Shark faction. What about their disciples? I never said anything about them." Long Fei hurriedly changed the topic and said, "Sis, let's go back. I'm about to faint from hunger." Fu Shishan glared at Long Fei and said, "Serves you right." Chapter 6. Thank you, brothers, for your monthly tickets in March. Please. 8_8419/2356955. He sold his private money and some of the things from before and gathered 1,000 fairy stones for Long Fei. Long Fei said, "I don't have anything I want to buy." Fu Shishan said, "Could it be that God Emperor Academy's assessment coefficient is very high? You have to make more preparations. How about this? At that time you will come with me to the auction. If there is anything you need you to tell me, I will buy it for you. Also, do you have anything you want to sell? Man Tualuo's pills are not bad. If you want to sell them, I can help you." Fu Shishan immediately walked forward, when he saw Man Tuoyuo walking out. Training was a competition of talent. However, it didn't matter if he was just a little bit short of talent. As long as he was rich, he would be able to buy resources and obtain limitless possibilities for free. This point was something that Fu Shishan, as a merchant, was extremely clear of. This time, the auction was like a meeting of money. Whoever spent more would be able to obtain more resources, and in just a few short days, there would be a huge change. Long Fei said, "Sis, do you need to keep watch?" Fu Shishan laughed. "There are some things in the Fengyuan Merchant Union's territory. I won't trouble you to worry about them. Just look for anything you want to sell and earn some pocket money or something." Man Tuoyuo said, "When the time comes, I will refine a few groups of poison pills." Fu Shishan immediately agreed. "No problem. I'll definitely help you sell it for a high price." Since the Fengyuan Merchant Union did not need anything to hold back, then Long Fei was too lazy to think about it. He did not want any fairy stones, anyway. Yen Huang, ancestor, disdained. "You don't want, I want. Do you still want me to train those ghost soldiers?" Long Fei. Chapter 7. Thank you, brothers, for supporting us with your monthly tickets in March. 8_8419/2356956. For the next few days, Long Fei and Fatty Chin trained at the slaughterhouse. For the next few days, Long Fei and Fatty Chin trained at the slaughterhouse. He had already been knocked around by the demon beast. However, these low-ranked demon beasts could not satisfy Fatty Chin at all. After a day, he would not even be able to scratch his skin. Insufficient strength. It was impossible to activate the defense in his body. After fusing with the second-grade beast armor Immortal Root, Fatty's defense was even more abnormal. Long Fei continued to kill. Just like Fatty, after breaking through the holy 9th rank, the demon beast's experience plummeted. The demon beast, that was originally over 100 points, now only had 20 to 30 points left, and could no longer satisfy his need to level up. However, no matter how small the mosquito was, it was still meat. It was already quite good to have experience. During this time, no one from the Morong King's Manor or the Black Shark faction came to look for trouble with them. This made Long Fei a little depressed, as he no longer had the experience to send them off. "Fatty, time to go home." Long Fei threw the butcher knife over and shouted to the Fatty in the demon beast circle. It's time." Fatty was sleeping soundly in the demon beast circle. The demon beast were ignoring him, completely ignoring his existence. Fatty Chin crawled up and patted the dirt on his body, humming a song. "Come home, we can eat delicious food again." After a few days, Fatty's weight had risen again. Early morning, Long Fei and Fatty returned to the small courtyard of God's Phoenix Pavilion. There was something wrong with the anger in the yard. This time, not only Fu Shishan, the Smoke Thunder, but also the other 3 clan elders, 2 strong practitioners from Arrogant Immortal State, stood behind the 3 of them. A strong aura pressed down upon Long Fei the moment he stepped into the courtyard. Long Fei's body sank slightly. The Fatty was not on guard. His body staggered, and he almost fell to the ground. Fortunately, at the very last moment, the divine armor and power of Celestial in his body helped him withstand it. Chun Tianfei's personality was very irritable, and he immediately scolded. "Who the hell is feeling so sick from eating their fill, releasing all of their pressure the moment we get there? Your cultivation is amazing, damn you. Very unhappy. How dare you? What's that?" An old man immediately shouted out, his eyes staring at Fu Shishan. He said, "Fu Shishan, is this your trash?" The word trash was especially heavy. Fu Shishan's face darkened. Just as she was about to speak, Chen Tianfei said in an irascible tone, "Old man, who are you calling a trash? If you have the guts, Come out and see if I don't beat your shit out of you." The old man glared at him. In that instant, one of the arrogant, immortal state rankers disappeared behind him. Even if those people want to cause trouble, they should be looking for him. Why are they looking for the Fengyuan Merchant Union? Long Fei couldn't wrap his head around it. Fu Shishan stood up and said, "I will take responsibility for this matter." "Full responsibility?" The other elder sneered. "Can you afford it? You just cannot handle the God Emperor Academy. Can you even take out 5,000 fairy stones? I heard that you recently sold things to collect 1,000 fairy stones because you wanted to buy a few things for this boy to pass the God Emperor Academy examination, right?" "Humph. Fu Shishan, for a man, you are truly willing to sacrifice your life." Fu Shishan frowned, feeling very uncomfortable. "I won't pay any of these 5,000 fairy stones." "Me too. Me too. Don't ask me to pay a penny. If you have the money to raise a man, then think of a way yourself." Fu Tianlong continued. 5,000 fairy stones are only to apologize to God Emperor Academy. What about the auction? The Fengyuan Merchant Union did not have anything of value in the God Emperor City. How could they compete with other 9 business union? You, Fu Shishan, cannot bear this responsibility. If the auction didn't produce anything, it would only make people laugh. Will become a big joke in the God Emperor City. Then again, this was not something that could be solved with just a few thousand fairy stones. This would affect the fate of the Fengyuan Merchant Union. The 3 great elders all looked at Fu Shishan. Fu Shishan was forced into a difficult situation. The treasure being escorted was not her responsibility to begin with, so she was not responsible for it. The 3 great elders all pushed the blame onto her. And then there was Long Fei, being looked down upon. Fu Shishan did not feel good in his heart. But now, there was nothing she could do. Table of contents, at this moment. Long Fei's gaze tightened, and his voice sank. He let out a heavy shout. "I'll be responsible." Table of contents, 8 chapters in the morning. There's still an update for today. It will be delivered tonight. April Fool's Day. The sea never lies. 8_8419/2356957. Damn it, I'm so pissed. Fu Shishan looked at Long Fei, incomparably moved from the bottom of his heart. However, she knew, this time, the auction was not going to be the same as the auction in Fireglass City. It would not change just because of a few pills and a few runes. However, with Long Fei's words, she had no regrets. She gathered her strength and laughed. "I believe you guys. Just tell Uncle Lei what you want. He can get everything you want." "Long Fei, I still have some matters to attend to. I will be very busy in the next few days, so I might not have time to visit you," Fu Shishan said with a smile. Her eyes were helpless. Long Fei knew that Fu Shishan did not believe him. The auction this time was too important, and there was only 3 days of time. Who would believe someone who only had holy 9th rank? If it was Long Fei, he wouldn't believe it either. Seeing Fu Shishan helplessly leave, Long Fei felt a pang in his heart, and he muttered, "The last time I made you suffer a grievance, I definitely won't do it this time." And then Long Fei looked at Man Tualuo and said, "I need your help right now." Man Tualuo looked at Long Fei and nodded heavily, saying, "I will do my best." "All right, Fatty, I need you to collect information on the various merchant union in this auction. I need to know what items are being auctioned. Strongest upgrade system. Xiao Ying, you stay in the yard." Long Fei looked at the smoke thunder and said, "Uncle Lei, I need the artifact forging workshop and high-grade ores. I also need you to provide the poison spirit grass for Man Tualuo. I also need high-level spirit grass. The 9th chapter adds the monthly tickets of the Brothers in March. Thanks for everyone's support." 8_8419/2356958. Murong Tian had the skills and brains of a demon slayer. Even if he wasn't, his Murong prince's manor would still be able to soar into the sky with this kind of strength. Murong Tian laughed complacently and said, "I've already heard about the matter with God Emperor Academy. Fu Shishan is simply unable to take out 5,000 fairy stones. Once the deadline has passed, her God's Phoenix Pavilion will prepare to close the gates. This matter, once his master's illegitimate child died, he would be the only important disciple and would receive all of the resources, including the three-rate fairy vein. Everything was perfect." Murong Tian laughed sinisterly and thought, "Kid, what are you using to fight me now? I just need to make a little trick, and your Feng Yuan Merchant Union is about to be destroyed. Do you still have anything to rely on?" "Ha ha." Murong Tian laughed proudly. What exactly is being refined?" There were only 2 days left. The refining techniques had already been raised to the heaven stage by Long Fei. However, he still hadn't thought about what spiritual treasure he would forge. At this moment, a loud sound echoed out of the courtyard. Xiaoying was sent flying with a slap. "There's an assassin!" Man Tualuo crawled out from the room. Uncle Lei, absolute poison pellet." All the absolute poison pills were taken away. The smoke thunder had just gone out. Hearing the sound, he rushed to the backyard. But everything was too late. The expert had long since disappeared. Fu Shishan also walked into the backyard. Looking at Fu Shishan and Man Tualuo, who were both in her hands, her heart was already dead. Why must it be like this? Does the heavens want me to die? She hated him. She clearly knew who was stealing the pellets. Man Tualuo had refined. It was Fu Tianlong's man. They were both from the same family. Why would the merchant union fight against each other? Fu Shishan felt extreme hatred in his heart. Long Fei also knew what happened just now, and in that instant, a thought flashed in his mind. And then, Baidu's sister-in-law, a half. Floating life, strongest upgrade system. He opened the door and said to the Uncle Lei, "I need ores, a large amount. I need as many as I can get." Finished. Long Fei turned around and entered the room, his heart excited as he said, "I want to forge a set of armor. Transformers armor." Chapter 10. For the monthly tickets for March, let's start a new month. The brothers have monthly tickets to cast for the sea. Thank you. 8_8419/2356959. Kid, what exactly do you want to do? He ran no less than 10 times the entire night. You said you were going to refine weapons, but you were actually refining. Not even moving a single or was enough to make him run around. Wasn't this just toying with him? He had lived for more than 60 years, but he had never been played like this before. Even the head of the Fu family didn't dare to treat him like this. But Long Fei treated him like a slave. He was truly unhappy. However, he said that didn't even look at him. This made him even more furious. He was even more sure that Long Fei was messing with him. The smoke thunder roared. "Brat, get out here right now." At this time, Xiaoying and Man Tualuo hurriedly walked out, and the two of them were completely shocked when they saw that the entire courtyard was filled with ores. "Uncle Lei, what's wrong? Is the Uncle Lei dragon young master angered you?" The smoke thunder shouted. "You think I'm a porter? You say that you want to forge a weapon, but you are refining. What do you mean by this? Are you kidding me?" The whole night was busy. Now, Long Fei didn't even respond, and ignored him? How could he not be angry? Xiaoying immediately said, "Uncle Lei, calm down. He might not have heard you." Man Tualuo also said, "Uncle Lei, don't be angry. He is like this." Once he is immersed, forget about talking. Even if the sky is falling down, he will not be able to hear anything. Suddenly, at this moment, Long Fei's eyes flashed with a bright light. He started to tremble in excitement. I know. Chapter 18_/2356960. Long Fei muttered in his heart. At this moment, Yen Huang Ancestor said, among the space ring, there are a huge pile of broken-down immortal weapons. Once all of these are broken down, you will be able to obtain a strong power or... If you hadn't told me, I would have forgotten. Long Fei thought about the broken swords that came out from the dark underground blast. Although they were only broken swords, they were still immortal weapons, so as long as they were reconstructed successfully, they would be considered good weapons. However, Ancestor, how are we going to break up these handicap veterans? Long Fei did not know how to decompose techniques. Yen Huang Ancestor slightly said, leave your idea under my control. I'll pass it down to you. 10 seconds later. Ding. Equals half carat float hashtag life carat. Congratulations, player. Long Fei for comprehending decomposition technique. You have gained 100 experience points. Power of Celestial 100 points. The reward is 100 points. Damn, this works too? Long Fei shouted excitedly. With the disintegration technique, in the future, he would be able to disintegrate some of the useful materials from spirit treasures. And Long Fei laughed sinisterly. Ancestor, in the future, I will be using this to disintegrate holy artifacts. Yen Huang Ancestor's gaze darkened. Damn, I've been tricked by you. Chapter 28_19/2356961. Huff, huff. The Yen Huang Ancestor panted heavily as he muttered, the mental strength of this remnant soul of mine is truly weak. I can't even hold on while refining my weapon. All right, kid, go experience it for yourself. Whatever you want with this blade. It's not as good as the Dragon Salyer, so just treat it as a little contribution from me. Finished. Yen Huang and his father disappeared just like that. He was going to rest. Long Fei watched as the artifact was lifted up with the black long blade. Only after a full 10 minutes had passed did it slowly calm down. In this instant, Long Fei's eyes suddenly shook. Buzz. His mind exploded, and his sea of consciousness fiercely churned up. Powerful. It was incredibly powerful. Its power was like a rolling sea of anger, incomparably arrogant and tyrannical. This was a world that belonged to a hegemony, and it was completely different from the Dragon Salyer. The style was completely different. However, one was yipping. The other was the domineering aura of Dragon's fury. This blade is very strong, but it is still far from being able to compare with the Dragon Salyer. Weapon. Unnamed. Grade. Immortal grade 9 damage. Description. Insolent and endless saber energy. Domineering strength. 1 move. 1 slash. Release with full force. Ding. Do you want to name the weapon? Without even thinking about it, Long Fei immediately shouted, Bah! Ding! Weapon, Tyrant successfully named. Long Fei's hand loosened slightly, and his body quickly left this kind of arrogant and tyrannical world. This kind of feeling was very special. This was true domination. This blade. Long Fei did not immediately make up his mind. After all, this was a blade refined by the Ancestor. Yen Huang Ancestor acted as if he knew what Long Fei was thinking. Brat, this blade does not match your status. You already have a Dragon Salyer. Take this blade and auction it. Actually, Yen Huang Ancestor also wanted to know what the price of this blade was. This was something every creator wanted to know. Long Fei said, Ancestor, you want to be smug, right? Yan Huang ancestor laughed. You noticed it? Ha ha ha. Lad, hurry up and refine your sword. The Xian Ming sword is not by your side. You need a sword as your weapon. Sword. Long Fei laughed lightly and said, Indeed, I need a sword. 1. The sword of the future. And then, Long Fei moved. Decomposition technique. Ding. Disintegration. Successful. A broken sword was formed. Disintegration technique. Ding. Disintegration successful. Yet another sword broke apart. It continued to decompose. Long Fei split all the broken swords that had exploded out, and also divided the Beast King's sword amongst them. Yan Huang ancestor was stunned. Kid, are you crazy again? You can't control this power at all. Long Fei became excited and said, Ancestor, let me summarize your refining just now. 2 words, violence. Huh. Then God Emperor City became lively. Once a year, the joint 10 commercial alliances auction was going to start today. This time it was huge. The scale was unprecedented. Not only were there a lot of participants, there were also a lot of important figures. Just the God Emperor Academy elders alone had invited 3 of them. It was also said that he had invited an honorary vice principal of the God Emperor Academy. The Li clan could only follow suit. Similarly, those who were qualified to enter the auction had extraordinary backgrounds. The young master of the Devil Sect of the Dark Domain, and the young master of the Iron Ox family of the Wilderness region. They were all big shots. The tickets to the auction were all sold out, and those who wanted to go in and take a look were countless. 1 ticket was sold for 100,000 taels of silver each. In this way, the supply was still unable to meet the demand. Early in the morning, in the backyard of God's Phoenix Pavilion, there was a feeling of suppression. At this moment, the courtyard was already packed with people. Fu Tianlong shouted. Fu Shishan, the other 9 business unions have handed over their items for the auction to prepare, but you have not yet. What do you mean? You didn't hand over any of them. Did you not manage to get a single thing these past few days? As the person in charge of the God Emperor City, what are you cooking? Fu Tianlong reprimanded her heavily. The Smoke Thunder could not watch this any longer, and said, Elder Fu, aren't your words a little too harsh? You should be well aware of some things. Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Fu Tianlong glared at him and shouted, Who do you think you are? You are only a slave in the Fu family. Are you qualified to talk to me? You dog. Fu Shishan, if you don't know how to discipline slaves, I can do it for you. Fu Tianlong shouted loudly. At this time, he was unbridled, because he could completely crush Fu Shishan. The Smoke Thunder's face sank. Fu Shishan said, Fu Tianlong, I do not need you to criticize my people. I will take responsibility for this matter. You do not need to worry about me. She had given up. She broke her leg in the past few days, but no one wanted to help her. Since the absolute poison pill man, Tualuo refined, had been stolen, she became even more desperate. The auction was going to start in less than 2 hours, but she couldn't take out a single item, so there was nothing she could do. Humph, you're in charge? Another clan elder said in disdain. Fu Shishan, can you afford it? Now that the 10 commercial alliances auction has become a 9 business union alliances alliance, you still can't take out a single thing. And you've even disgraced the Fengyuan Merchant Union. Are you responsible for it? Why are you so responsible? Fu Tianlong laughed. When she says to take responsibility, let her take responsibility. I shall see how she will take responsibility. He was extremely pleased with himself. When he came in the morning, he already knew that Fu Shishan wouldn't be able to take out a single thing. This way, the God Emperor City, Fengyuan Merchant Union, and even the Fu clan did not have Fu Shishan's status. In this game, Fu Shishan had already been eliminated. They had victory in their hands. Fu Shishan's eyes darkened, and his body trembled. He slowly stood up. I won't trouble you guys to worry about me taking responsibility. Uncle Tianlong, I only want to tell you one thing. Internal strife will only cause the Fu family to decline. The heavens are looking at the people, and the heavens are looking at the things that you have done. You are very clear in your heart. Fu Tianlong glared at him and laughed coldly. You little girl, it's not your place to teach me a lesson. Humph. Fu Shishan, you admit defeat? Fu Tianlong looked at Fu Shishan smugly and laughed. Little niece, I also want to tell you something. The process is not important, and the result is the most important, understand? At this moment, Xiao Ying said angrily, Who said we lost? We haven't lost yet. Everyone looked at Xiao Ying. Xiao Ying clenched his fists tightly and said, Big sis Sister Yun Shan and young Master Long will definitely not disappoint this Sister Yun Shan. The oars in the yard were all gone. When the smoke thunder came, she was also secretly shocked. At this moment, ha ha ha, ha ha ha, Fu Tianlong and the other two elders laughed loudly, mocked crazily, and said, If you didn't say anything, I would have forgotten. There's still that trash from the southern domain. Where is he? He's still in seclusion refining. Have you managed to produce a pile of feces? I think he's already escaped. From start to finish, he had never placed Long Fei in his eyes. The people from the South Horizon region were useless, not the climate. Now that he was in seclusion refining, he was practically trash amongst trash. Fu Shishan yelled and said, Fu Tianlong, although you say that I am all right, you cannot say Long Fei. He could say she was okay, but he couldn't say Long Fei. Fu Tianlong laughed in disdain. Tell me what happened to him. Isn't he a trash? Aren't the people of the South Horizon region useless? Fu Shishan, if not for him, would you have fallen to such a state? Speaking of which, I really have to thank him. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have had the chance to step on you. Ha ha ha. Another clan elder laughed. Fu Shishan, is your little lover that important? More important than the Fengyuan Merchant Union? Ha ha ha. Women are born to be played by men. Fu Shishan, do you want to play with him? But you were played by him. Ha ha ha. The three elders were fearless. Because Fu Shishan had already lost, from today onwards they are in charge of God Emperor City. Fu Shishan's face turned green, his fists clenched tightly, joints popping out. Man Tualuo, Xiao Ying, and the Smoke Thunder S were all extremely angry, but there was nothing they could do. The auction was the key. If they couldn't take out anything to auction, Fu Tianlong and the others could easily crush them. Right at that moment, rumble, rumble, rumble. A stream of demonic energy shot up into the sky and turned into a fuse, causing the entire room to explode. A loud sound was heard, and in the blink of an eye, the entire room was turned into a pile of ruins. The furnace blew up. Air. Fu Tianlong laughed complacently. He laughed so hard that he fell forward and back, almost to death. He pointed to the ruins. Artifact forging? Ha ha ha. This is the man that you raised, the great genius of the South Horizon region. Ha ha. To be able to destroy our house, that is truly amazing. Have you seen a crafting furnace explosion? Not only did he blow up the furnace, he even blew up the house. Ha ha ha. He was extremely pleased with himself. The last chance to make a comeback was gone. Fu Shishan's face turned anxious. She no longer cared about the auction, what kind of losses the Fengyuan Merchant Union would face. She only cared about Long Fei's safety right now. Long Fei. Baidu search. Half afloat Xiaoing also shouted loudly, "Young Master Long!" Cough, cough, cough. Cough, cough, cough. A series of coughs sounded out from the rubble, and then a figure slowly walked out from the dust. It's okay, it's okay. I'm still alive. Chapter 48_8419/2356963. Brat, you're still too young. You want us to take responsibility and take the blame for you. Stop dreaming. Exactly. Long Fei's voice sunk. He suddenly shouted angrily, "Since you do not wish to take responsibility, then watch your 8 ancestors. What qualifications do you have to look at it? F***CK. Lousy has given you face, right?" It was a fierce scolding. If Fu Xishan was not present, Long Fei would have charged over and give them a fierce slap. So many people bullying a woman. What does this look like? Fu Qianlong's face sank, and anger surged out of him. The other 2 elders immediately shouted, "Brat, it's not your turn to be impudent here. I think you're tired of living." The corner of Long Fei's mouth moved. He sneered and said, "I am being presumptuous, and am just tired of living. If you have the guts, come up and touch this daddy here and try, and see if I can kill you or not." I'm so unhappy. As long as Fu Tianlong dared to touch him, he would definitely retaliate. The bodyguards of the arrogant immortal state were indeed strong, but not as strong as the giant demons, not as strong as the power of the Yan Huang ancestor. Fu Tianlong stopped the 2 old men beside him and said, "Let him be so impudent. Let us see what he will use to participate in the auction. If he likes to disgrace himself, we can let him go. He's just a good-for-nothing from the South Horizon region anyway. He's already used to losing face." While they were talking, Long Fei's eyes darkened as he stared darkly at Fu Tianlong and said, "If you have the guts, say one more word." A cold-killing intent emerged. Fu Tianlong's heart trembled. A cold chill hit his body and made him extremely uncomfortable, but he quickly recovered as he sneered, "Fu Xishan, is this the man you reared?" Humph. Fu Xishan frowned. She looked at Long Fei. Long Fei looked at her and said, "Sis, do you believe me?" In just 3 days, he could refine something good, even if one refined an immortal-grade spirit treasure. The other merchant union would still have one. Even higher-grade items would not have any advantages and would only embarrass themselves. The Fengyuan Merchant Union's face. Seeing Long Fei's resolute expression, Fu Xishan's heart tightened as he said in a heavy tone, "Big Sis believes in you." Xiaoing also said, "I believe you too." Man Tuoluo said, "I believe you." Even the smoke thunder that was annoyed by Long Fei last night said lightly, "Brat, this old man believes in you too." Long Fei laughed and said, "Then let's go to the auction venue. Today, I want you to become the most famous person in the God Emperor City. I will make the Fengyuan Merchant Union an unsurpassable existence." Long Fei heavily said as he looked at Fu Xishan in his heart. Fu Xishan was ready to throw caution to the wind. In any case, she had already thought of an even worse ending. How much worse could it be? Long Fei hinted at Man Tuoluo and said, "Bring a few more high-ranked spirit grass with you." Man Tuoluo nodded, and then the group of 5 walked out of the courtyard. In the yard, Fu Tianlong's face was ashen. He did not know why he was stunned by Long Fei at that moment. "Big brother, what should we do?" Fu Tianlong sneered and said, "Go take a look, see how much rubbish this brat has refined, and how he will suffer the ridicule of tens of thousands of people." Fu Xishan, no matter what, you will definitely lose today. In another place, Morong Mansion. Ha ha ha. The Fengyuan Merchant Union has yet to hand over anything. After this auction, their market in the God Emperor City will be quickly divided. Morong Fenglei laughed. Jean Sanyuan smiled and said, "This is all thanks to the intelligence provided by Lord Morong. Right. Here are 3,000 fairy stones. We, the family gene union, will only help young Master Murong find the warbeast-type immortal roots at the auction. It was very worth it to be able to topple this generation of the Fengyuan Merchant Union. Moreover, he was ready for everything. This time, the Fengyuan Merchant Union would definitely lose miserably." Murong Fenglei laughed, obtaining 3,000 fairy stones, just like that was too easy. With this money, the Murong prince's estate could expand in power. Baidu's sister-in-law, a half floating life strongest upgrade system, Murong Tian, walked out from the side of the hall and said with a faint smile, "As long as Family Gene Union cooperates with our Murong Prince's manor, I will allow your Family Gene Union to occupy the entire market in the God Emperor's city." Ha ha ha. This was just the beginning. Next, he had to deal with Long Fei. Chapter 5. Thank you, brothers, for your monthly tickets. There will be another 100 chapters this month, and more than once. 8_8419/2356964. In just a few minutes, you couldn't explain the characteristics of the item, and no one knew that it would not sell it for a high price. The auction for the Fengyuan Merchant Union would be very difficult. Up till now, Fu Xishan did not have any confidence. It was not because he did not believe in Long Fei, but because the other 9 business union S were too powerful. No matter how good the pill refined by Long Fei was, it could only be compared to the other merchant union. The Fengyuan Merchant Union would be trampled by them. Room number 13. This is the box of your Fengyuan Merchant Union. The little steward was so scared of Long Fei that he almost broke down in fright and didn't dare to be reckless anymore. Moreover, he was very clear in his heart that Long Fei even dared to kill a member of the God Emperor Academy, let alone a small auction manager like him. Long Fei took out a fairy stones and threw it to him, saying, "This is your tip. As long as you do what I say properly, you will receive even more. Also, I believe that after today, you will become the head of this auction house." Finished, Long Fei walked into the private box with Fu Xishan and the others. The manager was stunned for a long time. He looked at the fairy stones in his hands and thought about what Long Fei had said. "Supervisor? Is he joking? Humph. Everyone else gets a good share of the merchant union, but I am the unluckiest one, the Fengyuan Merchant Union. However," he gritted his teeth and said, "you even dare to kill the students of God Emperor Academy. What else do you not dare to do? I'm willing to give it my all. I'll believe you for a while." And then he left quickly and made arrangements. He even took out all of his savings and made a bet. At this moment, Chun Tianfei, who had disappeared for a few days, rushed into the private box in a flurry of emotions. F***CK, I even thought you were being thrown into a moat to feed the fishes. Long Fei heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. The fact that this fatty had not appeared for a few days made him worry a lot. Fatty Chun did not waste any time. He took out his list and said, "These merchant union items that are given to the auction house, they all have some precious treasures on them. They're all amazing things. I really don't know how the merchant union got their hands on these things." Fu Xishan took the list and looked at it. His face sank, his face revealed a bitter smile, and he slowly sat back on his chair, his expression ugly. Xiao Ying looked at the name list. Immortal Grade, Rainbow Immortal Cauldron, Celestial Grade, 7-star Fate Sword. There's also a Tier 5 Immortal Foundation. Oh my God, these things. Where did all this come from? Isn't this too extravagant? 9 Business Union is way too rich, right? Fatty Chun said, "I've participated in an auction before, and not only that, There are also some top treasures that have yet to appear. When the critical moment comes, I'll definitely use them to crush the entire audience. How is this an auction? This is simply a fight to the death. 10 commercial alliances controlled 90% of the market share of the Sky Marshall continent. It could be said that they were the richest people in the world. As far as merchants were concerned, the auction was a battlefield, a place of slaughter. Whoever had the best would have the highest cultivation. Whoever had the highest chance of winning would be able to dominate the entire arena. Fu Xishan was in complete despair. She couldn't even compete with the treasures on the list, not to mention the secret treasures that the Merchant Union would only use at critical moments. How to fight? He was not a match at all. Long Fei was very calm, without any ripples. She asked slightly, "Fatty, what did you compete in the first round?" "I heard that too." "Pills," Fatty Chun said. "Regarding pills, the third-ranked member of the Merchant Union has a huge advantage over the others. I wonder where we managed to get some immortal pills. The rest are all heaven-tier pills." "Right. What pills do we have?" The moment he said that, the room suddenly became cold. Man Tualuo's expression became extremely ugly. After being injured, the quality of the pills she refined would not reach the level she wanted. They would not even be able to make it onto the stage. Alchemy required all one's strength to prepare for battle. Being injured would greatly affect the quality of one's alchemy. Even if it was Man Tualuo, she did her best. Fatty Chen's expression changed as he said, "We don't even have any pills." "Then what should we do?" Sister-in-law, 1-/ plus health, strongest upgrade system. There isn't much time left until the auction. "Are we not going to compete?" Longfei slightly said, "Of course we have to compete. Not only do we have to compete, I also want to win." Chapter 18_19/2356965. Man Tualuo was startled. Man Tualuo was startled. Faster. Long Fei did not give her time to react, nor did he have the time to explain anything else. Man Tualuo immediately took out a spirit grass and placed it in Long Fei's hands, then said, "This spirit grass is known as the Yuanyang grass and contains a dense amount of scorching sun energy. It is a high-grade spirit grass used to reconcile water attributions. Spirit grass." "No matter how fast," Long Fei urged. Man Tualuo explained even more quickly, as if his words were flying. However, Long Fei kept urging her, "Hurry, hurry, hurry, hurry." Xiaoying was dazzled by what he saw. Long Fei controlled the powder tripod with one hand and took it into his hands with the other. His technique was exceptionally quick, and there was no aura seeping out of the powder tripod, just like what Long Fei said in the Medicine Valley. The real good pills were not overflowing with spiritual energy, but the effects of the spirit grass were all absorbed by the pill. That was the real good pill. In the auction. Next, let's invite the Thunder Merchant Union. One of the medicine boys from the Thunder Merchant Union walked up, and behind him followed a young mistress carrying a group of pills. The ingredient boy's expression was calm. He was not worried at all about the large scene that had unfolded before him. On the contrary, he was very calm as he said lightly, "This group of pills is a set of Heaven Xian pellets refined by Master Ling Zi." "Huh. Damn. He started with a Heaven Xian core." The Thunder Merchant Union is indeed the Thunder Merchant Union. It seems like he does not want to give any other merchant union any chance in regards to pills. The pellet of the Thunder Merchant Union is ranked first in the 10 commercial alliances. The auction this time will definitely be his. The medicine boy explained a few sentences. Then the sounds of bidding from below became louder and louder, each time more intense than the last. 30 million. 50 million. 7 million. In the end, the bid was 200,000, and this was the highest price. These were only heaven-rank pills. They would not be auctioned at a high price, and fairy stones would not be used to bid for them. Next is the family gene union. What he offers is a set of sea explosion pills, a total of 10 pills. Separate bids will be raised, and each pill will be auctioned for 10 million silver. Each bid must be no less than 1 million silver. In addition, the quality of this set of sea explosion pills is the first grade of heaven stage, and the quality is the best quality pill. As soon as his voice faded, the entire audience was in an uproar. Sea explosion pill was a type of pill that could increase a warrior's sea of consciousness. It was extremely difficult to refine, and it was even more difficult when it was of the highest quality. At this moment, he sat paralyzed on the ground and muttered, "It's over, it's over. Why would I choose to believe you? My fairy stones, my entire savings." His heart felt like it was about to die. He wanted to die, but he had spent 3 fairy stones to build a relationship, allowing the Fengyuan Merchant Union to be the champion. But now, it's over. In the auction house, Shi Qian maintained his professional smile and said, "Fengyuan Merchant Union, if you hear it, please come out. If you don't come out soon, I will disqualify your merchant union." It was at this moment Long Fei opened the door and said to Fatty, "You go with him. This pill is called Long Yang pill." Chen Tianfei immediately understood and became excited. "Damn, boss's pills. It must be fun. Quick, quick, quick." It was as if the little steward had been resurrected and did not care if the pills were useful or not. "He's here. It's here, it's here." Just as Shi Qian was about to announce the cancellation of the Fengyuan Merchant Union's qualification, seeing them appear, Shi Qian said lightly, "Hurry and come up." Those who had just mocked the Fengyuan Merchant Union were stunned. Shi Qian looked at the pill in Fatty Chen's hand, which was still giving off steam, and thought to himself, "Just made it?" However, this pill does not emit any spiritual energy. It should be a trash pill or even a piece of trash. After thinking about it, Shi Qian lost all interest and said, "Your Fengyuan Merchant Union is too awesome. Introduce yourself." Fatty Chen could not be bothered about Shi Qian's expression and said, "Let's not talk too much. This pill is called Long Yang pill, and it is even fiercer than a giant dragon. It can easily eat 7 women in one night, but the most important thing is it does not harm the body." In addition, Fatty Chen became excited. "Attention! This pill can stimulate the strongest power of your fire attribute immortal roots and allow you to break through as fast as you can." Finished. 36O search. Half floating / equals, there was no sound from below the stage. In the general's mansion's Chen family, a young man beside Chen Shaoshan stood up and laughed in disdain. "Chen Tianfei, you've completely lost face for the Chen family. Isn't that the yang strengthening pill in your hand?" Ha ha ha. Chapter 38_8419/2356967. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Everyone in the hall laughed. This fatty is too funny. Even the aphrodisiac was brought to the auction, and the Fengyuan Merchant Union has become a swindler on the streets. Get lost. What do you think of this place? Everyone was laughing. The Chen family was laughing. Chen Shaoshan, Chen Yueran was laughing. The Murong King's Manor was laughing. Murong Fenglei, Murong Tian was laughing. Fu Tianlong was laughing. The family gene union was laughing. And so were the other people from the merchant union. They were laughing at Chen Tianfei and at the Fengyuan Merchant Union. Such a huge auction was actually selling aphrodisiac. The Fengyuan Merchant Union instantly fell into the bottomless abyss. Fu Shishan's eyes closed slightly. Her heart was as dead as death. Without even a shred of hope, she had to bear all the responsibility. She wouldn't be able to turn her body in this lifetime. Xiaoying said anxiously, "Young Master Long, what do we do? This is the auction house of the God Emperor City. What about the male strengthening medicine? Why?" Long Fei walked to the window outside the private room and looked at Fatty Chun, who had an ugly expression. Long Fei shouted loudly, "Fatty, let them have a bite. Don't they like to laugh?" Then slapped their faces. It was not loud. However, many people heard it. His voice quickly quieted down. The young man from the Chen family stood up and looked at Long Fei with disdain. "Trash from the southern domain. You don't even have the qualifications to speak in this God Emperor City." "The person from the South Horizon region? Isn't the South Horizon region the gathering place for trash? What did this person just say? Slap our faces? What does he count as? Brat, come down if you have the guts. Watch how I kill you." Qin Shaoshan laughed coldly. "Chen Tianfei, you really are a pig. You don't even have a brain, and you're still following this brat from the southern domain." The mocking laughter became even louder than before. The South Horizon region was known as the place where trash gathered. After the calamity that happened in the Long family, the South Horizon region rarely appeared in the eyes of the immortal domain, facing the mockery of everyone else. Long Fei did not have any change in expression. Instead, he looked at Qin Tianfei and said, "Fatty, believe in me." Without saying a word, Qin Tianfei picked up a pill and swallowed it. "Gudong!" He swallowed the pill into his mouth. Chun Yueran laughed mockingly. "Do whatever he tells you to do. Do you want to eat SH*T too? Ha ha ha. What a pig." In that instant, Chun Tianfei's eyes flashed a ray of light. His entire body became extremely hot and dry, immediately sitting cross-legged. The vigorous energy in his body continued to attack his 4 limbs and 100 of bones. Most importantly, the holy armor fairy vein in his body released a force that was much stronger than before. Too excited. He was so excited that he even forgot to auction it. Immortal Foundation had broken through 2 levels. He had broken through 2 levels. It could strengthen the male, but this pill, this was too crazy. Chen Tianfei slightly said, "Sure, there are only 3 now. The starting bid is 100 million. Without waiting for Shi Qian to speak, someone immediately stood up. "I bid 3 fairy stones. Fairy stones is bigger than gold. Gold is bigger than silver." They had just used silver to bid, but now, just the 3 fairy stones were already several times more expensive than the 1.5 billion silver from Family Gene Union. As soon as he finished, "I bid 5 fairy stones, S. 8. I bid 15 pills. Whoever is going to fight with me for it. I'm in a hurry." A pot-bellied man stood up. He needed Long Yang Pill S, not for cultivation base or immortal foundation, but for the invincible aphrodisiac effect. The moment he said that, the entire audience went silent. Shi Qian was so excited that his body was trembling. The auction had just pushed the price to a small place, and it had never happened before. For the first round of the pill auction, there was the first time a fairy stones had bid, and it was even 15 fairy stones. This was too crazy. 15 fairy stones S for 1 time, twice, thrice. Clang. Deal. Shi Qian was incomparably excited and said, "The Feng Yuan Merchant Alliance is too strong." In box 13, Xiao Ying let out a long breath. She even felt as if she hadn't breathed for a few minutes, as if her brain was suffering from a lack of oxygen. Looking at Long Fei's back, she excitedly jumped up. "Young Master Long is mighty. Young Master Long is domineering." Man Tualuo also looked at Long Fei, incomparably excited, but she did not express it out loud. His alchemy technique has improved again. Too amazing. It wasn't that Long Fei improved. It was the green dragon tripod that was helping. Long Fei's heart moved, and he said lightly, Azure Dragon Ancestor, thank you. Roar. A dragon's roar came out from the powder tripod. At this moment, Fu Shishan covered her ears with both hands. She was completely unaware of what was happening in the auction, until the little manager ran up as though he was being chased, and looked at Fu Shishan, who was covering his ears with his hands. She said emotionally, That's right, that's us. Ha ha ha. The first round has created a miracle. 15 fairy stones. 15 fairy stones. Even immortal pills couldn't get such a high price. Too awesome. The Fengyuan Merchant Union is too awesome. The manager was so excited that he was at a loss for words. Fu Shishan looked at him in a daze and asked, What did you say? I say the Fengyuan Merchant Union is too awesome. Just now, they sent out 15 fairy stones at a high price, creating a record high up in the history of the auction. Too awesome. This time, we will definitely crush the Fengyuan Merchant Union. Other than Family Gene Union, the other members of the Merchant Union were the same. They were all crushed by the Long Yang pill to the point that they couldn't even breathe, so they all took out their best pellets. However, Chen Tianfei looked at Long Fei and said, Boss, what do we use for the second round of pills? Long Fei smiled and said, Second round, third round, give up immediately. Huh. Everyone was stunned. Only Fu Shishan said indifferently, Commercial means just this pellet is enough to make it an unsurpassable legend. Indeed, it was exactly as Long Fei had expected. The second round of 9 Business Union was going to go all out just that. No pellet could compare to the value of Long Yang pill, even if it was an immortal stage pellet. 9 Business Union was beheaded and bleeding profusely. However, the only winner of this auction was the Fengyuan Merchant Union. The fatty instantly broke through 2 levels. The 15 fairy stones were bidding way too ferociously. An unsurpassable existence. Everyone only remembered the Long Yang pill. As for the others, they had not memorized them at all. This almost made Jean Sanyuan spit blood. After giving up twice in a row, many people were looking forward to what the Fengyuan Merchant Union had. Shi Qian walked up to the stage and said gently, Second round, Spirit Treasure Auction. The main event began. It was at this moment. Lu Dafu, the manager of the auction house, walked onto the stage and said, You are not allowed to give up the Spirit Treasure Auction. If you give up again, the auction will be disqualified, and you will not be allowed to enter the auction house again for 10 years. Clearly, it was targeting the Fengyuan Merchant Union. This was Jin Sanyuan's plan, and he would absolutely not let the Fengyuan Merchant Union have any chance to retreat. Long Fei smirked. You can't give up, right? Sure. Then I'll play with you all and let you all know what it feels like to be crushed. Transformer. Tianju? Or is it to shake the heavens? Ha ha. Chapter 5. Thank you for your support. 8_8419/2356969. It had to be known that forging alchemy and forging artifacts were 2 completely different concepts that could not be obtained simultaneously. Fu Shishan also looked at Long Fei without saying a word. Her heart was very complicated. Her mind was constantly thinking about the Long Yang pill. As long as she could promote it well, the Fengyuan Merchant Union might have a chance of reviving, but the refining of the Long Yang pill could only be done by Long Fei, and as for refining, she did not hold much hope for that. Long Fei looked at them all and laughed. You will know soon enough. Ha ha. Amongst the space ring, those few sculptures seemed to be staying in the Divine Sea. The last one, the Fengyuan Merchant Union. As for the items, Shi Qian was startled. He still did not have a name list, and smiled. The Feng Yuan Merchant Union's most recent auction is very mysterious. All the names have not been reported. Please do it now. Feng Yuan Merchant Union. Everyone looked in the direction of box 13. There was no sound. The Feng Yuan Merchant Union is calling for you. Are you deaf? You won't be able to take it out with a single look. If you give it up again, you'll lose the right to do so. I want to protest. This is disrespect to us. And I suggest that the Feng Yuan Merchant Union's auction qualification be revoked. And this way, the irresponsible merchant union would leave the God Emperor City. You're right. Get out of God Emperor City. Many people clamored again. The Chun family, Murong King's Manor, Fu Tianlong, and the family Jin Union all started to mock him. Fu Tianlong laughed coldly. That man, Tualuo, has refined a set of pills. Do you think you can do anything with just this set? Hee. It depends on how you guys do it this time. You can't even take out a single item, can you? Ha ha. Refining artifacts was much more difficult than alchemy. He was sure that the Feng Yuan Merchant Union could not take out anything good. Even if they could, it would not be anything good. They just had to wait for others to mock them. At this moment, Long Fei walked out of the private box and slowly walked down. The steward was on the verge of tears. Ancestor, walk faster. Can you walk faster? I beg of you. Long Fei laughed. What's the rush? Don't worry. No one will disqualify the Feng Yuan Merchant Union. They are all waiting to see us make a fool of ourselves. Joking about us? Long Fei smirked. Let's see who will be the laughingstock. Seeing Long Fei walk up the stage, Shi Qian relaxed and said, You finally came. Lu Dafu stopped Long Fei and said, I'll give you all a warning. If you dare to disrespect this arena again, I'll... Not waiting for him to finish. Long Fei laughed. I know. Did you disqualify the Feng Yuan Merchant Union? If you cancel it, you can cancel it now. If you cancel our qualification as the Feng Yuan Merchant Union, you can just wait to be expelled. They did not place Lu Dafu in their eyes at all. Long Fei walked up the stage and said faintly, This thing of mine. Right. How much was the two-handed sword sent by the lowly merchant union just now? Long Fei turned and looked at Shi Qian. Shi Qian frowned and said softly, That is the family Jin Union. Long Fei replied, I know, it's the slut merchant union after all. At this moment, from room number 7, a disciple of the family Jin Union rushed out and shouted, Brat, are you courting death? Long Fei raised his eyes slightly and said, I'm courting death, come down and bite me, Shi Qian quickly said. The two-handed sword is the highest price in the first round of the spirit treasure. It auctioned 100 fairy stones. 100! There really are quite a few. Long Fei said indifferently. The disciple on the windowsill in the room immediately smiled and said, This is a price you have never seen before, right? Trash from the South Horizon region. Ha ha ha. A country bumpkin. Long Fei looked at the disciple and laughed coldly. I will remember you. He memorized the appearance of the disciple in his mind. At this moment, in his mind, there existed a list of deaths. Long Fei laughed and said, You are very honored. You are the first. And then Long Fei's voice sank and said faintly, This item of mine, the starting price is the highest price I have ever offered, 100 fairy stones, and the bid must not be less than 10 at a time. 36O search. Half floating // equals, the audience went into an uproar. They were all jeering at Long Fei for thinking about money crazily. It was at this moment. Long Fei moved and said solemnly, Steel monster, heaven-shaking evil, come out. Chapter 18_19/2356970. I like to slap your faces. Feeling good. I feel so good. Ha ha ha. Long Fei arrogantly roared out. It completely crushed the entire audience. It was even more powerful than the Long Yang pill. Even the few elders of the God Emperor Academy stood up in shock. They did not look at Lu Dafu, but stared at the 5-meter-tall steel monster instead. After the mighty god's general Lu Dafu was killed in a second, he turned around and walked behind Long Fei, and a mechanical voice sounded out, "Master, the danger has been resolved." And then it was like a bodyguard protecting Long Fei's back. What did it mean by domineering? This was domineering. He was incomparably domineering. Zhou Lian was completely dumbfounded. His attainments in artifact forging could be said to have reached a high level, but he had never thought of this sort of thing and had never seen it before. Moreover, more importantly, just as Long Fei had said, this guy seemed to have his own consciousness. Sister-in-law 1-/ plus health, strongest upgrade system. This. How awesome was this? This was a domain that he could not touch at all. Zhou Lian walked up to him with incomparable excitement. I bid 1,000 fairy stones. Chapter 28_8419/2356971. I bid 1,000 fairy stones. Zhou Lian was excited. I bid 1,000 fairy stones. Zhou Lian was excited. After studying refining for so many years, this was the first time that he was able to forge something like this. Yan Huang ancestor was also stunned and said, "Good boy, this guy, powerful and domineering, awesome and awesome, awesome and awesome indeed." Ha ha ha. Long Fei started laughing and shouted, 1,000 fairy stones going once. Are there any higher prices? Without waiting for Long Fei to finish speaking, he said, I bid 1,300 pills. 1,500. 1,700. 1,900. 2,500. The price had risen so quickly that the entire venue was shocked. Lu Li's two-handed swords, immortal wheels, blades, swords, sticks, they were all trash in front of the might of Jintian. To refine it, one had to refine such an amazing thing. As long as energy is injected into it, it can bring you to fly, and even bring you to the heavens. It was the holy artifact that had to take risks, take quests, test, and fight. The Li clan bids 2,700 fairy stones. Our Li clan and the Fengyuan Merchant Union have a strategic cooperation. Can we? Not waiting for him to finish. Your Li clan is awesome. I bid 3,000, and all of them have been snatched away from me. If you were to fight with me again, I will kill you all. As soon as he finished, 3 brawny men in the second row stood up, an expert from the desolate land. Among them, there was one youth that did not stand up. He kept looking at Long Fei. Long Fei said, 3,000 fairy stones going once. The second time. The third time. Deal. Long Fei took the wooden mallet in Shi Qian's hand and knocked it down, then said with a smile, Congratulations, Shaking Heaven is now yours. I will tell you how to use it after you've paid me. It's very simple. It was also at this time. The young man from the wilderness region stood up and said slightly, Can we be friends? Long Fei said, You want to be friends? No problem, but not a single cent less. The teenager laughed and said, We don't have much money in the wilderness. We can have as many fairy stones as we want. Although the wilderness was poor, however, it produced even heavier ores. There was even a vein of fairy stones. There were countless fairy stones. However, this was just a rumor, so it was unclear if it was true or not. Long Fei said, I like being friends with rich people. For the sake of friends, I allow you to lose 1 fairy stones. Ha ha ha. This young man was the young lord of the wilderness, Lei Zhong. He was accepted by the Godhead Academy, but he was still accepted by the Godhead Academy. He refused. He walked on the path of an assessment. He was extremely disdainful towards those prodigies that had broken the record. After paying the money, Long Fei whispered a few sentences into Lei Zhong's ear. All of it were instructions on how to move heaven-shaking art. And then Lei Zhong kept vibrating heaven into the space ring and said excitedly, "It's violent enough. I like it." Zhou Lian stood right beside him, watching as Lei Chong Tian withdrew his power. His eyes were filled with envy. He wanted to research this kind of steel monster, but he looked at Long Fei and asked, "Can you teach me?" As soon as he finished, the entire venue shook. What was Zhou Lian's identity? An elder of the God Emperor Academy. He actually asked Xiang Longfei for guidance. What kind of concept was that? At this moment, Fu Qianlong's face was burning. Chen Xiaoshan's face was burning as well, as though he had been slapped ruthlessly. "As elder," Xiang Longfei asked, "you have to understand that they were all ridiculing Longfei for being trash of the southern domain. Back in the Chun clan's ancestral hall, everyone in the Chun clan scoffed at him, full of ridicule. At that time, who would have known he was such a genius? Fu Tianlong was even more so." Zhou Lian asked, "Just this point was enough for the Fengyuan Merchant Union to boast for 10 years. However," Long Fei smiled, "this is something that I need to ask her. It is something that was refined by a strong member of the Fengyuan Merchant Union. If you want to ask her these questions, you have to ask the owner of the God's Phoenix Pavilion. If she agrees, you should be able to get your approval from her." Zhou Lian's heart relaxed, and he said lightly, "Thank you." How could Long Fei refine such a high-tech item? He didn't believe it either. Refining was the same as cultivating. It required a strong foundation to break through. How old was Long Fei? In his early 20s. He could not possibly be a master refiner, let alone a steel monster that had never appeared before. At this moment, Fu Tianlong heaved a sigh of relief. "I knew it. How could someone from the South Horizon region refine such a good item?" However, who exactly was helping Fu Shishan? Did her father send someone? The few people from the Chun family also heaved a sigh of relief. Anyone could have refined it, as long as it was not Long Fei's. Zhou Lian walked down the stage. Long Fei slightly said, "Elder, don't be anxious too. Don't worry about the people who didn't bid. This is just the beginning. There's still something even more powerful." "Right. Everyone from the 9 Business Union, listen up. I don't care who you are fighting against the Fengyuan Merchant Union. I will accept it. I alone can crush you to death." Arrogant beyond compare. It was obvious that the 9 Business Union was making a move against the Fengyuan Merchant Union, but since they wanted to play, they might as well. Long Fei swept his gaze across them and laughed coldly. "Take out all the other great treasures. I, Long Fei, will receive them all by myself." This was how arrogant he was. This was how crazy he was. He had to carry the flag of the Fengyuan Merchant Union alone. Fu Shishan was crying loudly in the private room. Man Tuolyuo and Xiaoying were also so excited that hot tears flowed down their faces. Chun Tianfei stood on the windowsill and roared out, "Boss is mighty, boss is awesome, ha ha ha." Long Fei's arrogance had completely angered the people from 9 Business Union. Too arrogant. He's too arrogant. I've never seen such a wild person before. He doesn't know how to restrain himself at all. I do want to see how many of these steel monster he has. I'm tired of living. Is this a war against the 9 Business Union? The people of 9 Business Union were in an extremely bad mood. Who are they? Anyone who could control the economic lifeline of the Tianwu continent would be considered an unimaginable existence. How could a mere Long Fei be so arrogant? Who could tolerate this? Jean Sanuan shattered a teacup in his hand and said with a heavy tone, "You dog, let's see how long you can continue being so arrogant for." Long Fei left the stage. The manager rushed forward. He wanted to pounce and kiss Long Fei ruthlessly because he had just received orders from his superior that he would be the manager of this auction house from today onwards. Floating life, table of contents, no windows. A++ looking at his excited expression, Long Fei said, "The matter of Lu Dafu's death." The manager immediately said, "Don't worry, it's already been settled." Long Fei said, "That's right." The manager became excited. "Brother, you're too sharp. From today onwards, everyone in God Emperor City will worship you." Chapter 38_8419/2356972. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.